The biggest thing that I have noticed with myself as a teacher with Project Lead the Way is to learn to take on more of a facilitator role, letting the kids really put those questions out there and answer those questions for themselves, and let them push themselves with what kind of research they need to do, what kind of answers they need to come up with, what kind of materials they might need. Really me stepping back, which is hard sometimes, and letting them fail.
When I first saw our module at 5th grade and saw that it was dealing with robots, I was scared out of my mind because I don't know anything about robots. And then after talking to a high school Project Lead the Way teacher and confessing that fear, he kind of laughed and said, that's actually better. He said that he prefers not being an expert in the field of what he's teaching because it allows him to take a step back and give them the opportunity to explore and discover and for them to become experts.
What I've learned is that really drives their excitement for what they're learning.
My kids were excited the 2 days that we did the module. They were engaged all day long and worked really well collaboratively with their teammates. I was excited to see their drive, their creativity, and their passion for a new topic.
I can think of a couple of kids in particular that they struggle with their behavior, they struggle with getting anything accomplished in class, and they were actually leading their collaborative groups. So that was a really cool thing to see.
One thing that I also love is that it reaches those kids that you wouldn't normally reach. There have been kids who have jumped in and have been so excited about being part of the project and the group and the planning and the questioning. Kids that I wouldn't normally would have seen such excitement come from. They are in there and they are wanting to do what we're doing and wanting to know what we're going to do next. So it really allows those kids to expand their knowledge.
All right. My favorite aspect of Project Lead the Way so far is the student excitement in the classroom. They were really excited about doing Project Lead the Way, creating and building, thinking. Every day they asked me, are we doing Project Lead the Way today? Are we doing it today? Students didn't want to be absent. They wanted to be there.
Another big piece of something that was really exciting for us is our special ed kids. They really took ownership in this. We have a boy that is severely autistic, and at the end, he held up his hands when we did our project. He held up his hands and shouted, "I'm a genius." And for him to feel that success was huge for us, just to know that he is able to learn like the other kids, and he felt confident in himself afterwards, which is something he doesn't feel all of the time.
Go for those two.
Most successful group so far.
Oh, no. Is it okay if we touch these? Or we can't? Nope.
You can't touch anything.
Watch in person. Oh, he's good.
Let him keep going if the time they were just kind of see.
Go through the corner. You can drive over the red. Your color can drive. Yes.
See it both?
Oh, touch it.
Keep going. There you're fine. Yeah, that's.
Keep going. You got it. It's the orange. Flip it around. There you go.
Oh, it's the orange on the board.
Alright. Okay, go ahead and 2 more. Go for
Oh, he's getting.
That was 2.
That for the most part, all the things they're asking you to do fit the Common Core standards. So we saw a lot of things in math and writing, compare and contrast, things like that that fit into our standards already. So it's been thoroughly researched in that sense of what that grade level is supposed to be able to do. So even though the science topics may be new to you, what they're asking your kids to do, even if you haven't taught it yet, is not going to be out of their range to do.
When I first learned about Project Lead the Way in our summer training this past year, one of my concerns was that it is very procedural. And with all of the changes to education that I'm very much in favor of, there's a lot of creativity and voice and choice for students, and this seemed to be in contrast to that. However, having done most of our first module, I have seen great things from the kids and their collaboration with each other, and how in addition to learning to follow the procedural steps, there is some place for creativity, and they're able to problem solve and work together and create things and adapt their robots in different ways. Well, I've been very impressed with Project Lead the Way, And it is important to note that at the elementary level, we are part of a greater puzzle. We are the first steps leading up to the secondary Project Lead the Way classes. So it's okay if it's a little bit procedural because we're building a solid foundation and an understanding of the design process in our students.
And I actually went in very skeptical because it was a new program, and I always like to see results before taking on something new and making sure that things work. But we were approached to Project Lead the Way, and we went, and the training was pretty tough. There were a lot of pieces that the gaps weren't closed, so again, I was still skeptical after the training. And then every lesson we would teach, we'd stop and say, oh, okay, this was really good. This is really good. We really think that our kids are getting a lot out of this.
When the students were explaining to their parents during conferences, they showed their projects and they were using the vocabulary, and they were talking to their parents about what they created, and they were using insulators and conducting, and just listening from inside the classroom, not even during the classroom time, how they explain their projects was just really exciting as a teacher, seeing them use their vocabulary, the language that they used, how they created it, and it really showed that they understood what they were doing.
I know for us in third grade, our second module has a project that involves an activity that is really a lot like our KC3 book for this year, Poach or Panic. So we plan to incorporate a lot more of the reading that the kids have done into that project. So know that these are going to be ways to tie in lots of other things besides just science through your reading and math as well.
Can't move our leg. You can't move our. Well, and you just hit that too.
I think that we can shreds off. Or we can like implement some numbers that don't. So like we can. Like they just don't go over paper. No, like yeah, we can make it so that we won't need it. Yeah, like we think about. We think about. Or like add something onto it that will like. Or like make those things higher so like the blocks can actually go in it. Yeah, because the blocks didn't really go. Like on the sides, it's a little close. I'll go next. But like the board that's holding it, kind of low. So we need to fix that.
I love that the kids have even taken it farther than I ever expected for them to do. Once we reached the end of our module, they wanted to keep going, and they wanted to make adjustments and retry things. And so that's something that was not in the plan, but as a facilitator, you've got to let that happen.
It's a big focus for us as educators is always to talk about how we're educating kids for the future. But STEM education is something that's here now, and it's relevant, and it's something that our kids are applying in the classroom now, and it's something they can even take out of the classroom.
If anyone's hesitant about this, what I would say is think about what you really want for your kids. And to me, this is one of the best things that we can do to prepare our kids for middle school, high school, and their careers beyond. So truly, I do believe it's what's best for kids. It's highly engaging, highly motivating, and I think you'll be really pleased with the results.